Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy Reed. I'm the co-founder of Illuminate Psychic Fair and more. And we're stepping into our 7th year of Illuminate 2020 Psychic Fair and more at the Coast Capri Hotel in Kelowna, BC. It all starts on January the 30th with Elizabeth Beeds and Colette Marie Stefan as our keynote presenters. We're very excited, and this is going to be one of our best years we've ever had. So I do hope you decide to join us. And as some of you know, or some of you don't know, we have a speaker series that runs at the Illuminate Fair all through the weekend. And today, I have one of our guest speakers with us. Her name is Marie Martin, and she is Marie Martin Coaching. Welcome, Marie.
Thank you.
So very grateful that you've joined us today. And can you tell us a little bit about your journey before we talk about what you're going to be presenting at the fair? Can you share with us, how did you get into this, and what made you decide you're going to become a coach?
Well, I've always been fascinated by anything psychic as a young child. Like, I was fascinated by anything supernatural, any psychic things that were going on. I totally wanted to be a medium. That was my life's desire. I wanted to be a medium and be on the stage and giving people messages, and they were like, yeah, you're not doing that. So I've always looked at extreme things. I studied Nostradamus as a teen, and hypnosis and NLP, and then I kind of shut it down. I used to hear voices, and I shut it down one day when it scared me. And I completely shut down all of my spiritual journey from then until probably 20 years later. And as a lot of us do, we tend to shut down our innate gifts and shut down where we are. And then things start to play up in our lives start to get more difficult. And like I speak about, and I wrote a book about the challenges and how our belief systems are actually developed. And between the ages of 0 and 7, we pick up 90% of our programming. And that programming runs on automatic. So we end up creating movies around these beliefs and these patterns and these programs that affect our lives. And we get so caught up in this program and pattern that we think these movies are real, and we stay in that. So we get to a place where we realize we live in a lie. It's like I felt like the person that I was pretending to be, I truly was, but it felt false. And it felt false because I had so much stuff to get through to get to the innate being of who I was. So when I started to look at where I was, I had health challenges. I got to a place where the 2009 financial crisis happened, and my partner and I had properties that we were developing, and all of them crashed. So it's kind of like, I call it the critical crisis point, where it's like, now things have to change. You get to the point where you go, okay, everything's just collapsing around me. I really have to change. And I had it all. We were facing bankruptcy. I was obese and overweight. I had health problems. I had adrenal fatigue and hypothyroidism so bad that I couldn't lift my head off the sofa after 12 o'clock at night. So I was suffering. I was in a bad place. And then one morning I woke up and I realized that I had a choice. I had a choice to continue dying, or I had a choice to live. And that was the first time I'd actually had that thought. What do you mean I have a choice? Yeah, I've got a choice. I can live. And that's when I started my recovery journey. I saw a medical doctor, and he said, you'll be on medication for the rest of your life. And I said, I don't think so. And he was like, yes, you will. And I was like, no, I choose not to believe that. And he said, oh, you one of those, are you? And I said, yes, I'm one of those. I'm not going to be on medication for the rest of my life, and I will heal this. And I've made the decision and made that choice to live. And I actually started finding the things that would help me survive my condition. So I was particularly guided in a 6-year journey, and all the way through the journey, I had no idea that I was being guided. And we were guided to we were living in Australia, and we were guided to come to Kelowna, Big White in particular, and move to the mountain, which is what we did. And I'd be in the top of the mountain, like hiking the mountain. I'd be like, why am I here? Why did you bring me from Australia to here? On the top of a mountain on my own, like, what's going on? And it wasn't really until I went through all 6 bodies and the healing process of all 6 bodies that I actually understood what I'd been learning. And it was literally, I was learning the patterns of how the belief systems sit in our cellular memory in all 6 bodies, and how we create the movies around it to support that.
Yeah, we were just talking. I was just on the radio a few moments ago, and we were just talking about the subconscious mind and the intuitiveness and how things run behind the scenes, and you're not aware of it. It's repeating patterns. You have to become very in tuned with what you're thinking and what you're telling yourself, and more importantly, how you're feeling. That's really the key to lots of awareness around the subconscious mind, because my belief, and maybe you can share more information about this, is that the conscious mind feeds the subconscious mind, and then of course it's connected to the higher self. That I'm giving the short and skinny of it all. And of course then that creates your reality. But if you don't know what's being fed to the subconscious mind and it's running behind the scenes and it just keeps repeating the patterns over and over again, that's where you kind of feel you get stuck. And that's when things start to happen, like you just witnessed. Well, not just witnessed, but you went through, right? Health problems and a whole bunch of things, for sure.
Yeah, one of the first things I studied was neuro-linguistic programming, and I took a practitioner's course and studied it intensely, and then spent a year working on my own thoughts, and I was completely amazed at how many toxic thoughts I had. I had no idea they were running in the background all the time and making me sick, and I had no idea. So I literally spent a year. I hiked the mountain where I was living every day on my own. 5 o'clock in the morning, I was waking up every morning, go hike the mountain. And I did that journey, and each day I'd be processing what are my thoughts, like bringing them to the surface, because we end up living on automatic, and we get really, really busy living on automatic. And busy life, it's like, oh, I'll sort myself out, I'll do self-care when the kids have grown up, or I'm too busy right now, or when I get that promotion, or when things ease off, and when it's Christmas, and after Christmas, and New Year's resolutions. And we put all of these like things in place. We'll take care of ourselves when this happens. And it's like, oh, the time to take care of ourselves is now. The time to take care of our thoughts is now.
Yeah, procrastination is the worst, because the ego mind too really wants to keep you in that drama, right? That state of drama. And so it'll talk you in and out of things. We talked about that with a couple other people. Elizabeth Beads and I spoken about that, and she says just doing one little step at a time makes a huge difference. But if you don't do anything, then it's like it keeps it going and going and going. You did mention at the beginning of our conversation that a lot of the subconscious beliefs are put into the system, put into your beliefs between the ages of 0 and 7. Can you just elaborate a little bit about that? Or
yeah, during that time, we're constantly in theatre mode. So we are in the state of receiving information, in the state of hypnosis. So we're literally being hypnotized from the ages of 0 to 7. So everything around us, like our peers, our parents, our siblings, our teachers, like we're soaking in all this information, and it's all going directly into our subconscious. We've got no conscious decision making during that time on which beliefs we're going to take as true and which beliefs we're not going to take as true. So imagine like a 7-year-old mind or a 0 to 7-year-old mind is it doesn't have the cognizance to actually look at the beliefs and go, is this true or not? We might hear, no, you can't do this, and we might take on the belief that I can't do anything. And it's very subtle. It's very subtle.
Yeah, it's actually a good message for people that are raising children right now, for sure. Making sure that they encourage them. I always remember Gary Craig, who is an EFT practitioner. Oh, he actually created EFT, Emotional Freedom Technique. And he would share the story that when he was growing up, there was such encouragement, right? If he got 3rd on a spelling bee, they'd be phoning the neighbors, oh, my Gary got 3rd on a spelling bee. So there was always encouragement in his home. Yes. He grew up thinking that he could do everything and anything, right? And then you take children that where they're suppressed and they're made little of. I mean, when I was growing up, really ultimately you were to be heard and you were to be seen and not heard, right? Yeah. You kind of had to suppress everything that was going on around you. So that's a really good message for the parents, for sure.
I think from my understanding is that there's a map of consciousness that was created by Dr. David Hawkins. Like it's a brilliant map of consciousness and how the different stages of consciousness is in the ladder. And my understanding is that when I studied that, I realized that if we drop below the line of integrity, and we're living out of integrity, and we lose belief in self, others, and a higher power as a child, then we drop all the way down to the bottom of the ladder, down to shame, and then it's a struggle to get through each layer. Whereas, you can see some people they've had some really traumatic incidents in their childhood, but yet they manage perfectly well and stay out of addictions. And I think that's because they had a strong belief in something in childhood. If you have a strong belief in something, it doesn't really matter, seem to matter what it is, then you will retain that integrity and bounce back over the line of integrity very quickly. Whereas if you lose belief in all things, the shame is the lowest layer, and it almost feels harder to get to the next layer and harder to get to that next layer. And that was certainly my experience. I dropped below the line of integrity and had no belief in self, others, or a higher power. So for me, I had to spiral all the way down, and it took years to get back through that ladder to be living a life above the line of integrity again.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's a very important point. You're right, because there are people that come from experiences that were less than perfect, and they have risen and become. So I think you're right. It depends on if you've got something that you can grab onto when you're a young child, that you have a belief of something that it can be better for sure. And sometimes when we're in a traumatic situation, it actually propels us to find something that's better and greater than ourselves. But if we get caught in the spiral of it all, we can stay down there for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's got to get to a point when we're in the spiral. It's got to get to a point where we're really, like, I think that the crash point, like some people have divorce, separation, bankruptcy, car crashes, accidents, like illnesses. And for me, it was illnesses and bankruptcy. We face both of it at the same time. But we have to. It's almost like our soul's given us this, throwing this lifeline and going, "This is it. This is your last chance. Here's the ring. Grab hold of it, and when you grab hold of it, start to swing." So I actually think it's a survival mechanism kicking in when we actually do get that kick in the backside that says, "Hey, you've got to make a choice to live." I think it's our own survival mechanism kicking in and going, "This is as bad as it gets. Now what are you going to do?"
It's interesting that you say that, because there's kind of a switch that goes on that says, okay, I'm ready to make that decision. I'm ready to make those changes. It's kind of like a moment to, 1 minute you're here and the next minute, yeah, I'm ready to go. And if you stay in that, then you're heading in the right direction, right? Yeah. That's awesome.
And Elizabeth's right with the consistency. I made a commitment to myself a few years ago when we were in Australia. We did this weekend course where we did a fire walk at the end of it. And I remember going to see the fire at lunchtime and saying, there is no way you're getting me walking that fire. I am not doing it. Like I'll put my hand up right now. I'm saying, I'm not doing this. Like I'm not finishing off with this fire walk. But I did at the end of the day. And I was so amazed. I ran back round to the end of the queue and said, I have to do that again. Second time, and then I was like, I have to do that again and slow it down. Like I really have to slow it down. And the third time I did it, I actually slowed down to the point where I could feel my feet crunching the coals beneath my feet, and they were red hot embers. And I got to the other side and I just looked and I was like, anything's possible. Like literally anything's possible. So from that point onwards, I decided I'd make a commitment to myself that I was going to work on myself every day. And I did, and I still do. Like I'm nowhere near the top of any tree looking down going, look, I'm enlightened. I think the day we're enlightened is the day that we die. But I'm still in that process of working on myself every day. I still have that commitment to myself.
We all are. Life is a journey. You know, I used to think it's a destination. Oh, yay, I got it. I understand now. But every day is a journey. You learn something new, and you hopefully learn from the lessons that you've been through, and it's a journey. There is no end to it, and I think it's great, because otherwise we'd stop learning, and I think we need to continue on. And you've done lots of learning in your life. You've taken lots of courses. That's really awesome. That's awesome. So you're going to be offering a Demystifying Belief Systems with the Metrons Code, and you have actually created this book.
Yes.
And how long ago did you write it?
Wrote and published it last March. So I sold 500 copies last year, so I'm quite happy that it's gone out there. I've got some wonderful feedback about the processes and the simplicity of the tools, and that's what I'll be talking about at the event. We're going to talk about how this pattern is the Metatron's Cube, and this pattern is sacred geometry, and the meaning of this pattern is the creation of all things. So when our belief is set in this pattern, it just creates. The universe doesn't really care whether it's helpful or unhelpful. It's only us that has that judgment. So we get to create our own reality, and this is what we do. So we'll talk about how this exists, where it exists, how it exists in all 6 bodies. and then how to detangle that, how to detangle the people that we pull into this process, and then how to rewrite this code so that we're creating something that gives us freedom, gives them more freedom and more peace.
That sounds amazing. That sounds lovely. So you have a private practice where you do that already?
Yes, absolutely. I've got an office space in Kelowna, and I also work a lot online, so I work with people around the world as well.
That's fantastic. So you're going to be offering that at the fair too? You're a presenter, but you're also going to be offering sessions at the fair?
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to do mini archetype blueprint sessions at the fair where we look at your numerology. It's interesting. The day that I'm speaking is on the 2nd of February, 2020 at 11 a.m., which is a 2 as well. So it's 5 2s, 2 2 2 2 2.
Wow.
So it's numerology. So I think, yeah, the numbers and I'm booth 333. Yeah.
So it's really great because a lot of the exhibitors have mentioned to me that they're so excited about 2020. Just the new gateway it's opening up, and people that have been kind of sitting on the fence wondering which way they should go. There seems to be more momentum heading them in a more positive way. Can you offer anything about 2020 to us, or?
Sure. I mean, 2020 is a 4 number, which is about stability and foundations. So I think that what we're all feeling is not quite excitement. It's more like a stability. It's like, oh, this is the year where I get my foot in. So we're all feeling that. Like I am certainly feeling where I want to create more foundational settings in my life so that I have the strong foundation for next year, because next year is pivotal change.
Yeah, and it's also a heart number too. Would you say it is a 4? I mean, it's the heart and the heart chakra. So, it's about actually moving forward, but maybe more in that heart energy as opposed to the logical brain energy. Yeah,
totally. Like the clues are all about connection, right? So it's connecting into ourselves, connecting to our higher self, and connecting to the collective mind as well, which is interesting. Like I just started downloading the next book, and I say downloading because it comes through me. I'm not really thinking about it when I'm writing. And the next book is about the quantum, about it's actually called Quantum Foam, and it's about how these belief systems, once we set them in our own, how we then set them out into the collective field.
Which is amazing. That's fantastic, because we're all at some level connected. So. Totally. Yeah, if we raise our consciousness, we're certainly helping the consciousness of the planet, and because we're all connected at some level. Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, I look forward to that new book. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, me too.
Well, thank you so much. So if you want to learn more about Marie Martin and the Illuminate, you go to www.illuminateyourlife.ca. We do have tickets on sale right now if you want to get your ticket ahead of time, or you can buy them at the door. Thank you, Marie, for joining us today. That sounds absolutely fascinating what you're going to be offering, and I'm sure everybody's going to really enjoy your presentation. And thanks for being with us today. I really
thank you. We'll have a tangible process where you can test like how the belief was real before, and how it's changed, and how the new belief is taken hold.
Oh, everybody, you hear that? That's amazing. Thank you so much. Thanks so much, and we'll see you at the fair.
Bye, everybody. Thanks. Bye now. Bye.